Hello everyone, Jeff Parashad here with another bowling ball review video, and today we're going to look at the all-new MOTIV Thrill. The Thrill comes in two colors, as you can see. It has an RG of 2.57 and a differential of 0.15. Taking a look at the core, you'll notice that it's a huge core, and there's a reason for that. You can see this is what the balls look like in person. They're both very shiny. There's a red magenta and a blue purple. This is how I drilled my red magenta. It's got the pin above the ring finger. The layout is 70 degrees by 4 inches by 37 degrees. So as I said, this ball has a very big core, a very high RG, and the low differential, and it's going to lope down the lane. This is a ball that's designed for light oil conditions or for entry-level bowlers. The price point is pretty low. So if you're looking for a ball to break in with, if you're a new bowler, if your child is starting out, this is the ball to look at for them. If you're bowling on very light oil conditions or broken down lanes, this ball is great for that too. So taking a look at the ball roll down the lane, the first thing you'll notice is it's extremely clean. This is a fresh house shot, so I couldn't play too far left. Ball had zero trouble getting down the lane. Ball makes it through the heads very easily. But even though it has a low differential, which means low flare, it still has some kick to it. So even when I miss left in the oil, it still kind of punches these out. But that's not to say it's not perfect. As you can see, it's still a very low hooking bowling ball, so you're not going to be able to do too much if you just keep it in the oil the whole time. Here, I made sure to get it out to the right, and no problem. So this is a ball you're going to want to find dry with on the lane at some point. It's really good for when the lanes break down, when they're transitioning, or if you just want to play straighter. Maybe it's a wet-dry condition and you kind of want to keep the ball tight and you don't want it to do anything silly on the back end. This is a ball that's going to give you a look that lopes down the lane, but it's still going to have length and predictability. So how is this different than the MOTIV Hydra? The Hydra, you'll notice, is much smoother. It's a much more archy bowling ball. The cover is actually much stronger on the Hydra than on the Thrill. So if you're having a condition where you need a little more control, or there's a little more oil up front, or maybe it's a longer pattern that's dried up. So for instance, if you're bowling on pattern that's 38 feet or 43 feet, they could both dry up differently, but they'll be different lengths. So you might want a Hydra instead of a Thrill. So here's the second Thrill I drilled, and you'll notice right off the bat the one huge difference is this one is dull. They both come shiny, they're both exactly the same, but this one I sanded down 500 grit. And I'll tell you about the reason for that in a second, but first take a look at the difference in the ball roll. It's a little more wanting some oil, so this is something that you might want something that is a fresher condition, but it still has a little kick to it, but it rolls a little earlier. And it's a little smoother on the back end. Now, the reason I drilled it for this is because I'm looking for a ball that I can use on fresh patterns that are short. For instance, the USBC Open Championships and Team event is a 36, 37, 38 foot, whatever it is, pattern. Or maybe Cheetah or a short Viper or something like that. This is the ball that's going to work really good for that because it still doesn't flare a lot, but it's reactive, not urethane, so you're still going to get some back-end punch to it. But that's not to say you can't just go crazy looping it right, because if you do, you might have something like this happen. So you still want to keep it in control, but I threw that ball and I said, you know what, I think I can make that ball strike from there. So I'm going to get it out that far again, and actually I got it back, and it got back a little too much and tripped the 4-pin. So a little tweak to the line that I'm playing. I'm going to get it just a bit inside, a little more, and maybe a half a board target change at the arrows, and it's going to be just great. So there's actually a lot of things you can do with this ball. Anytime you want control, for instance here when I pull the ball, the red shiny one probably would have went straight, but this one actually hooks. So why would you want this dull instead of a urethane ball? Well, here's the urethane. And as you can see, playing that far deep, the urethane is just not going to get there. So I'm going to move a little right with the urethane and tighten the line up a little. And now it hits, and it's there, but it's not quite right. So I'm going to move another few boards right. I'm going to get into that dry a little sooner. And here's the urethane reaction that you kind of expect, where it kind of hooks halfway down the lane and just sets up. So we'll take one more a shot with the dull blue one. You can see the difference, and it's going to get back where the urethane ball didn't. So now I'm going to actually compare the blue one to the red one. So my shiny one, I'm going to throw it in the same place and get it out, and you can immediately see the difference in reaction. The shiny one, its length and huge flip, whereas the blue one was mostly control down the lane. So they're going to be different no matter how you want to drill it. You can do some different things with it. Versatile ball, but definitely for light oil either way. Just kind of tweak it how you want it. So thanks to MOTIV. Also thanks to Carlos Tabone at the Kevin Connection Pro Shop in Fort Lauderdale for drilling my stuff. Go see him if you're down in South Florida and need some equipment. Until next time, thanks everyone.